Welcome to Empires Explained, a channel dedicated to uncovering the mysteries behind the rise and fall of the greatest empires in human history. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for fascinating videos every Wednesday. 1377, the Vijayanagara Empire stands at a crossroads. Bukka I takes his last breath. Harihara II, the young ruler, faces a daunting challenge. The fragile alliances his father leaves behind are teetering on the brink of collapse. As internal strife simmers, the ambitious Bahmani Sultanate casts its shadow, hungry for the wealth of Vijayanagara. Will Harihara rise to the occasion, or will he falter under the weight of his father's legacy? The lush Raichur Doab, nestled between the flowing Krishna and Tungabhadra rivers, becomes the epicenter of ambition. Harihara II, newly ascended to the throne, must confront Mujahid Shah, the relentless son of Muhammad Shah I from the Bahmani Sultanate. Eager to reclaim lost territories, Mujahid's youthful fervor fuels his expansionist ambitions. Meanwhile, Muhammad Shah II ascends the Bahmani court. He is known for his benevolent approach, yet factions within the court swirl with ambition, eager to assert their power. Skirmishes erupt at strategic locations: Goa, Adoni, and Kothakonda, each a reminder of the delicate balance of power. By 1395, General Chenepa of Vijayanagara seizes Ranjini in Andhra Pradesh, igniting tensions further. In response, Firuz Shah, the grandson of Muhammad Shah I, assumes power in 1398 amidst turmoil, facing internal rebellions, including one led by the ambitious Narasimha of Kerala, who seeks to expand his own influence. Firuz Shah suppresses the Sagara rebellion with help from local Hindu chief Bhairon Singh, but his victory underscores the fragile state of the region. Amid the Bahmani turmoil, Harihara sees a chance to fortify his position. He persuades Katyavima of Rajamundry, a key regional leader, to ally with him. With a combined force of 30,000 cavalry and 900,000 men, Harihara launches a bold offensive on the Raichur Doab, targeting Mudgal and Raichur. Simultaneously, Prince Bukka II commands 80,000 cavalry against the Valama chiefs of Telangana, who are allied with the Bahmanis. The rainy season floods the Krishna River, halting both armies' advances. Firuz, with only 12,000 cavalry, stands on the banks, his forces stretched thin across 17 miles. As he weighs his options, Qazi Sirajuddin steps forward with a daring plan: a covert operation to assassinate Harihara or his son Bukka in order to pave the way for a Bahmani crossing. In the prince's tent, laughter mingles with music as soldiers celebrate. The performers captivate their audience with swordplay, but Sirajuddin, feigning merriment, lunges forward, striking Bukka down. The Qazi's confederates swiftly neutralize the guards, vanishing into the night as confusion spreads through the camp. Rumors swirl. Many believe the Bahmani army has crossed and decimated the royal family. The following morning reveals the grim aftermath. Firuz, heavy with victory but burdened by loss, surveys the carnage. The southern bank belongs to the Bahmanis, while King Harihara, shattered, retreats with his son's lifeless body. Firuz chooses not to besiege Vijayanagara, respecting the treaty forged between their forebears, but his brother Ahmad Shah captures thousands, enslaving them, including 10,000 Brahmins. Desperate, Harihara seeks negotiation, culminating in a treaty for the release of captives in exchange for 10 lakhs of Huns, a staggering price. With the empire somewhat stabilized, Harihara embarks on military campaigns to secure the western coastal regions of Goa and Konkan, vital for maritime trade routes. The wealth flowing in reshapes Vijayanagara, enhancing its power and stability. Yet, as he consolidates his influence, thoughts of succession weigh on him. He gathers his sons, preparing them for the responsibilities that await. Harihara dies in 1404. Who will seize the crown and lead the Vijayanagara Empire into the future? The sun rises over the bustling settlement of Mudgal, where Hindu and Islamic influences intertwine. Among its residents is Parthal, a goldsmith's daughter, whose beauty and talent in music and dance captivate all who encounter her, having been trained by her adoptive father, an elderly Brahmin. When a Brahmin from the court arrives, he brings news of a marriage proposal from Deva Raya I, the newly ascended ruler of the Vijayanagara Empire. He conveys the immense opportunity awaiting Parthal, assuring her parents that the Doab rightfully belongs to the empire. Overjoyed, they present her with princely gifts and a golden necklace, symbols of her elevation. But Parthal adamantly refuses to leave Mudgal. Her parents ultimately decline the proposal, returning the gifts to the Brahmin, who must report this unexpected failure. Parthal confides in her parents her fears about the instability of the Vijayanagara throne, noting that 2 rulers, the competing brothers of Deva Raya, have died in the past 2 years. Instead, she harbors a conviction that she will one day marry a prince of the Islamic faith. Upon hearing of the rejection, Deva Raya erupts in anger, refusing to accept defeat. He vows to seize Parthal by force, mobilizing an army of 30,000 to cross the Tungabhadra River, disregarding the treaty forged by his father. As the Vijayanagar forces advance, the goldsmith and the people of Mudgal abandon their homes for safety in the jungle, while the invaders, failing to find their target, resort to pillaging. Faulad Khan, the Bahmani governor of Mudgal, quickly responds to the invasion. Following the successful repulsion of the Vijayanagara forces, he dispatches a letter to Firuzabad detailing the incident. War becomes inevitable. For 4 years, Firuz has refrained from insisting on the payment of tribute outlined in the last peace settlement with Harihara II. However, he is unwilling to tolerate invasion. Seizing the opportunity to settle scores, Firuz, along with his brother Ahmad Shah Wali, musters a sizable army. They march to the Tungabhadra. They cross unopposed. Firuz also seeks support from his Hindu allies, notably Anapota Velama of Warangal and the Reddis of the Krishna Delta, urging them to join forces against Vijayanagara. The Reddis, eager to reclaim their territories south of the Krishna and seek retribution against Deva Raya, find a charismatic leader in Peda Komati Vema, who ascends to the throne of Kondavidu in 1402. Known for his prowess in warfare, Peda Komati Vema emerges as one of the most distinguished Hindu rulers of his era. War looms. Deva Raya, his initially confident army faces the challenge of confronting the seasoned Bahmani forces led by Firuz Shah. The memory of previous skirmishes casts a long shadow. Firuz, emboldened by past victories, gathers his coalition. Deva Raya finds himself in a precarious position. His attempts to rally neighboring rulers for support falter, messages go unanswered, and his pleas echo in the void. As the Bahmani army closes in, the Vijayanagara defenders prepare for the inevitable clash. Deva Raya devises a plan to use the hilly terrain to his advantage, gathering his commanders to discuss tactics for the imminent siege. As Firuz Shah's troops march toward the capital, the sound of drums and clanking armor reverberates through the valley. Deva Raya's cannot afford to falter. The Bahmani forces lay siege, and his troops brace for the fight of their lives. Despite fierce resistance, the Bahmani troops secure a foothold in the suburbs, pushing deeper into Vijayanagara territory. Without warning, Firuz is struck by an arrow, his blood spilling onto the dusty ground. Deva Raya sees hope, but quickly realizes that the Bahmani forces regroup and fortify their position. As darkness falls, both armies retreat. Deva Raya knows the battle is far from over. The time for decisive action arrives. Firuz Shah prepares his forces for the next assault, on Vijayanagara. After months of skirmishes, he aims to lay siege to Adoni, a fortress that has never fallen to enemy hands. As news of Firuz's approach spreads through the court, Deva Raya's desperation grows. He issues urgent commands, rallying his remaining forces, but the grim realization settles in. Time is not on their side. Losing Adoni could spell disaster for the entire empire. The day of reckoning dawns. The Bahmani forces, their numbers intimidating, arrive at Adoni's gates. The defenders ready themselves for the impending clash. With a fierce battle cry, Firuz orders the assault, and the clash of steel rings out like thunder. Deva Raya fights valiantly, but the Bahmani forces press hard. Chaos erupts. Deva Raya spots Bahmani soldiers breaching the walls. He rallies his men, charging forward to defend the fortress. The struggle escalates, the ground slick with blood, each warrior fighting for survival. The tide begins to turn. Firuz's forces, emboldened by recent victories, push deeper into the defenses. Deva Raya's heart sinks as he realizes that despite their bravery, his troops are faltering against overwhelming odds. Just as despair settles in, Firuz notices a faction of his own troops overwhelmed by fierce resistance. The bay walls of Adoni won't hold. In the aftermath of the battle, Firuz returns to Firuzabad. The marriage to Deva Raya's daughter, intended as a symbol of unity, deepens the animosity between the Bahmani Sultanate and Vijayanagara. For Deva Raya, the arrangement is a painful reminder of the loss. The Ghazis, influenced by Ahmad Shah Wali, harbor simmering resentment toward Firuz's alliance with Hindus. Their dissatisfaction grows, viewing the marriage as a betrayal of their cause. They demand an aggressive stance against the Hindus. After the wedding, Firuz shifts his focus to northern affairs, but tensions among his allies threaten to derail his ambitions. The Valamas and Reddys, eager for a stronger alliance, fear the implications of increasing Hindu influence at court. In Mudgal, Parthol's life takes an unexpected turn. Married to Hassan Khan, Firuz's son, she finds herself caught between two worlds. As she adjusts to her new life, the dreams she once held of a prince of the Islamic faith fades. Deva Raya contemplates his next moves, aware that Bahmanis still remain a looming threat. 1417, the Bahmani threat simply refuses to move. New tension arises over the siege of Pangal. Will Sultan Firuz Shah reclaim his former glory, or will Deva Raya I seize this opportunity to affirm his empire's dominance? Sultan Firuz Shah, grappling with recent failures, fixates on Pangal, a strategic fort crucial for consolidating his control over the region. Yet, as the siege lingers, a devastating outbreak of disease sweeps through his ranks, draining their strength and morale. Deva Raya senses a moment ripe for action. Having endured the humiliation of forced alliances and bitter defeats, he is resolute in his desire to strike back against the encroaching Bahmani threat. The recent peace has proven fragile, and the stakes grow ever higher. As the siege of Pangal continues, despair deepens in the Bahmani camp. Firuz watches helplessly as his forces weaken, whispers of discontent swirling among his men. Treachery simmers just beneath the surface, threatening to unravel the fragile unity of his army. Meanwhile, Deva Raya prepares for a counteroffensive. His generals urge for an immediate strike, but others caution against haste. Reports of a diminishing Bahmani presence filter through the Vijayanagara forces. Deva Raya orders a reconnaissance mission to gauge the enemy's strength. Scouts slip into the shadows, creeping closer to the beleaguered Bahmani camp. Will they return with vital intelligence that could ignite a decisive attack, or will they be ensnared in the chaos? The day of reckoning draws near as the soldiers of Vijayanagara steel themselves for battle, prepared for Deva Raya's rallying call. The protracted siege has drained the Bahmani forces, leaving them demoralized by famine and disease. But now, with fresh reinforcements and the Valamas at his side, Deva Raya senses the tide shifting in his favor. The garrison burst forth from the fort's gates. Caught off guard, the Bahmani soldiers scramble to respond, but chaos ensues too swiftly. The encircled Bahmani army finds itself trapped between the fierce onslaught of the garrison and Deva Raya's relentless advance. Deva Raya's pulse quickens as he witnesses the unfolding carnage. Each swing of his sword becomes a strike against the humiliation of the past. He channels his fury into the fight, rallying his men with words that ignite their resolve. Sultan Firuz Shah calls for a retreat, but it is too late. The Vijayanagara forces surge forward, cutting down the fleeing Bahmani soldiers in a brutal display of vengeance. In the aftermath, the battlefield is a harrowing sight. Deva Raya orchestrates a massacre, leaving severed heads as grim trophies to solidify his victory. Firuz's plea for aid from the Sultan of Gujarat echoes in vain. The newly ascended monarch cannot spare troops, leaving Firuz isolated. His defeat sends shockwaves through the Bahmani Sultanate, fracturing the once mighty kingdom. Ahmad Shah Bahmani ascends to power amid the chaos. With the battle over, Deva Raya speaks of a brighter future for Vijayanagara. His words resonate with the soldiers who fought valiantly, sharing in their hard-won pride. Yet beneath this triumph, the scars of war remain. The populace, once united against the Bahmani threat, now faces the daunting task of rebuilding and healing, their minds haunted by the echoes of bloodshed. As Deva Raya's time comes to an end, the weight of his reign rests heavily upon him. His body, worn from years of conflict and relentless pursuit of glory, succumbs to the toll of leadership. With his passing, the crown of Vijayanagara passes to his son, Virupaksha Raya II.